Hello Animorphs fans and welcome back to the Animorphs universe. We're starting a new little video series here where we're looking at each of the major characters in the Animorphs series and going over their top 5 best and worst moments. Does it need any more explanation? Probably not. So let's just get into it. The first character we're going to look at is this cheeky chappy, Aximili-Esgarrouth-Isthill, or at least that's how the Transformers line thinks he looks like. But we're talking about Axe. This was actually more difficult than I anticipated because as much as Axe is there throughout the series, he's one of the main team and he's always there, present, doing something. It was actually quite difficult to find standout moments for him that weren't him explaining alien tech or being comedy relief. It was, quite shocking really. But I have found some stuff for this top 5. There were a few honourable mentions. Let's get straight into it. So at number 5, Axe versus the Hessians. This comes in Megamorphs 3, Elfangor's Secret, when the Animorphs are on the Delaware and George Washington is there. By the way, this is time travel sort of stuff going on in this book. So if you're a bit like, George Washington in Animorphs, there is a reason. Megamorphs, basically, the time travel ones. But Axe is tasked with taking out the Hessians, which are basically German auxiliaries for the British. Yes, I know I'm putting a top 5 best moment in this video of the Brits being the enemy. It's alright, they were Germans, so it's alright. But Axe is tasked with going to the other side of this river, in his own Andalite body, with tail blades swinging and thrashing around. And he sees all these Hessians and sees a Hessian officer. And in he goes, wham bammo, knowing he's going to end up killing some of these Hessians. And he doesn't want to, but he's got to go in there and do it. And I just thought it was a very, very thrilling scene. It might have ranked higher. The problem is it's cut short. So the bit we do get of it is very juicy. And it's unlike a lot of stuff we see with Axe where, he's on his own, he's gone into battle. We don't see that very often. It's one of the few times. But he does that, and unfortunately the scene is cut short, we don't see much of it. But I do think it was a very, very good bit in what was a very, very, very good book. So Axe versus the Hessians, number 5. The next 3 are all from the same book, and it's Axe's best book, number 38, The Arrival. And it all happens around Estrid. This is where we get a real chunk of good Axe moments in this book. And the first one I'm going to bring up is his kiss. When he kisses Estrid, they go to the gardens. And at this point, Axe hasn't really learnt about her personality. He's just sort of taken by her looks and oh, how brilliant she is. This female Andalite and Arist. But she's also skilled at tailblade fighting and she's good at other stuff. She flies ships, does all this wonderful stuff. And she's heckin' pretty. So he falls almost in love with her. And we get this scene where they're both in human bodies, playing with mouth sounds in the gardens. And it's very sweet, very charming. Very Axe. Very, very Axe. And they end up kissing. And it's done in such an Andalite way. Did you know that humans do something else with their mouths too? What is it? Well, if you put our faces together and our lips, they do that thing. They give it a go and say, was it alright? Well, it wasn't as good as cinnamon buns. It's just a very, very funny bit. Sweet moment, but also with its fair share of comic relief. I thought it was a very good point in the series. That's number 4 on the list. But then, of course, for number 3, we get further along in that book, and Axe finally discovers what Estrid's personality is actually like. And this was another great moment, great series of moments for Axe. Well, he basically turns around and says, "You're a bit of a bitch, really. Off your trot." And I thought it was brilliant. He actually put his foot down, and he didn't mince words. He just said, "I don't freaking like you, so bugger off with you." Especially in the end scene where she's giving it the whole, "Oh, Axe, we could go together, we could travel the stars, we could do this, that, and the other. Just us, we could warn our people." And Axe is just like, "You realise I don't actually like you. So, bugger off." And off he walks. He has a bit of a cry about it later, but, he showed some balls there. Well done, Axe. Great moment, number 3 on the list. Numero Another Axe one, another Estrid one. It's their fight. We don't often see Axe fighting. It's one of the most disappointing things about Axe's character. It's that near the start of the series, he's given it this whole, oh, I'm going to fight Visser 3, I'm going to have a Tailblade fight with him, it's going to be great. Almost as great as the camera being slightly out of position. But we very rarely, if ever, see Axe fighting Visser 3. When it does happen, it's just sort of off in the background. I think that only happened once as well. You sort of got, oh yeah, and Axe and Visser 3 were Tailblade fighting over there somewhere, I don't freaking know. I forget which book it is. It might have been, was it? I don't think it was Visser. It was down in the Yerk pool at some point. But we do get a proper Tailblade fight. And all the moves are sort of thrown in there. It's well described. And it's Axe versus Estrid, of course. And the great thing about this, what makes it so high on this list, is that for all the technical skill, all the brilliance of Estrid's ability, you know, she perfects the Hold Warrior, which is this specific type of attack, and Axe is like, oh, very impressive. Oh, I didn't know you'd know that one. But experience counts for much more than technical ability, because despite all these moves and backflips and 720 somersaults and, you know, bench pressing and freaking, I don't know, nets a hoop while she's doing it as well, he wins by a very, very simple maneuver, and it's just sort of like, yeah. So he basically toyed with her for about 5 minutes and then just slapped her across the face and said, right, off with you, done. That's that. And I thought it was a fantastic moment, and it's one of those things where, yeah, technical ability, yeah, great, but have you got any real world experience? It's like when you're just looking for a job, you know. Everyone's had that old catch-22 of, you want this job and you've got the qualifications but you haven't got experience, or you've got this job where you've got the experience but you haven't got the qualifications. Sort of like that, but not. What am I on about? Basically, it don't matter your technical ability, it matters if you know how to use it and when to use it. That's experience. And that is a great moment for Axe, and that's number 2. So let's look at some honourable mentions, shall we? And the first one is, it could have been higher. It could have been higher on the list, but there are problems with it. And it comes in book 46, The Deception. Yes, The Deception. Jake is umming and ahhing about a decision. We're getting to the climax of the book. Everything's kicking off. There's fighting going on between the US military and the Yerks. And there's this nuke on board this plane, and Axe wants to use it, but Jake is sort of like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? And then Axe basically just whacks Jake in the side of the head and knocks him unconscious and goes and does it because he's fed up with Jake being indecisive about it. And he goes and threatens to nuke the Animorphs town. It's one of the only times that Axe actually steps up out of his simpering, wibbling minion role, because he'd do whatever Jake asked him to before. But this time he's like, nah, I've had it with you, Jake. Just, you know, shut up, let me take control. This could rank higher, but, and this is a big but, you don't do that. I mean, do you remember when, for example, Marco was having a pop at David in the David trilogy, saying, you realise Jake's in charge, you will respect him and follow his orders, don't be a dick. Well, sort of, you know, Axe basically says, sod your leadership, Jake, I'm taking over for this part. Yeah, there's a morally questionable thing about this. And Axe is a very funny one when it comes to like loyalty. It is very weird with Axe, and it's something I will delve into at some point. Just his wavering loyalties, and you know, it is weird. But for him to be the one to knock Jake out, yeah, it took incredible bravery. There's no passing that up. There's no credit where it's due. Very brave, very decisive, but he overrode his prince. Which we've established in this series, you know, that's Jake's role. That's what Jake does, and we respect him now. So for you to just conk him out of commission, that is not great. which is why it's only an honourable mention. You know, it's not as high on the list. And the other honourable mention is the juvenile delinquent scene from book 49, The Diversion. And they're in the store, Lauren's there, she's blind as a bat, you know, swinging a stick around, there's Champ somewhere around there. And Axe basically comes up to her and Humor says, yeah, I'm hard. Watch me put this bag of flour on the wrong shelf. You see that? Oh wait, no, do you hear that? I'm evil. And Lauren doesn't even really react to it, but it's just watching Axe say, I'm a juvenile delinquent and I'm causing mayhem in this store. Don't cross me or I shall show you a right good bit of fisticuffs, you could say. Well, ma'am. And it is hilarious. It's quite good. And that's one of those that people remember. But I didn't remember it straight away. It's from, quite frankly, quite a forgettable book as well, which it shouldn't have been. 49 was one of those books that should have been a lot better than it was, but for some reason it just became a bit forgettable. What is the number one Axe moment? And there were a few that could have done this. I've just sort of encapsulated this trope for Axe into one moment. You know, the whole cinnamon bun thing and food thing, that's Axe's main comedy relief, one big chunk of his character there. What is the best moment I feel of Axe, his comedy relief, and the whole food thing? And I think it's brown globules. I think that's his best moment personally. It's the one that sticks in the head. It made one of the greatest series in the greatest scenes in the TV series, where they're in the mall in book 5. Yes, I believe. Great book as well. Full of great scenes like this. But he tastes these brown globules, and they must have been like Maltesers or something, or Revels, whatever you Americans have. M&Ms? I don't know. He gets these and he goes like beneath all the seats and starts like yanking food out of people's hands, from what I remember. You know, scaring a kid. And then there's a whole chase through the mall as he's demorphing, he goes a bit wild. I thought it was a brilliant scene, and it encompassed everything we love about Axe in that one series of moments, starting with the going into the cinema. Yeah, it was funny, it was entertaining, it was thrilling, and it had a sense of danger in there as well. And it really gave us a good introduction to Axe, and I do think that is his best moment. What do you think are Axe's best moments? Tell me in the comments. Also, like and subscribe if you want to support me financially, which, you know, if you want. You can join the thing and you get videos early. So this video would go up on Saturday, and I'd probably have it uploaded by Tuesday before. Obviously you're watching this one now, so it's a bit redundant me saying it now, but for future videos, you'd get to watch videos earlier than everyone else. And it helps me out. So we will do more of these videos looking at the top 5 best moments for each character. We will also do videos looking at the top 5 worst moments of each character. I don't know which one I'm going to do next. It's not going to be in like a specific order. It'll probably go worst, best, worst, best, worst, best. But in terms of characters, I don't know. We might do Visser 3's worst moments next, or Cassie's worst moments next. Who knows? Let's all have fun on this little ride we're endeavouring to endeavorously. It's a nude word. You can keep that one. Anyway, what do you think of my little jellyfish thing down here? Isn't that funky? That's the Animorphs Universe top 5 moments. That's right up there, surely. Anyway, enough of that rubbish. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do all that other fancy jazzy stuff. And I shall see you in a little while. So, ta-ra from somewhere in the Animorphs Universe. Ta-ra.